models from printout. First, I'd like to give a little background on this model. Well, my first tutorial will be the head and neck of my Dilophosaurus. I modeled this in Blender, in the Blender modeling program, and from there exported it to the STL format. I then printed it out using the Makerbot Replicator 2 3D printer, and it's a little difficult to see considering that I have a model on the printed results on a paper plate, but here are each of the pieces. It took me a few days to figure out how to work with the Replicator 2, but I pretty much have it worked out. You may notice that there seem to be a few pieces missing. I decided it would be best to have the head ridges attached to the head, and what I call the cheek parts attached to the lower jaw. I figured that would make it easier to print it out and ultimately put them all together. It's a little difficult to get some of these pieces standing from the way they were, the way I had them printed out. But as you can see, I printed them out successfully. I'll be using liquid glue and I'll be getting some assistance from my original tutorial, which I also made in the Blender program. So, let's begin. I won't be putting the model together exactly as shown in the tutorial that I made in the Blender program. First, let's start with the neck part. I may not talk much here. It'll probably take a bit of time for these pieces for the glue to dry enough for the model to hold together. It'll probably be a bit crooked too, but I'm sure there are ways around that. Actually, I don't know what I'm trying. That looks good. And as long as we get the natural flow from one part to the next, it should be just fine. Our next objective will, while the first parts are, while the glue is drying on the first parts, I'll next start on the tongue. Let's put this over here. And I don't doubt that the tongue will be a little more of a challenge than the neck was. Similar to the neck, this with the evident natural flow from one part to the next. And in this case, maybe a good idea to allow the glue to dry on each piece before working on the next one. Of course, if you have a fast drying glue, that'll likely work better. As long as it doesn't dry too fast. And now for the most difficult part, the very end of the tongue. As you may notice, I'm putting the tongue together not exactly sequentially. And apparently not in a way that it's cooperating too easily. let's give this time to dry and I'll get back to you. Parts of the tongue here. Hopefully. And considering that I have this going to be flat anyway, flat and stretched out, this ought to work. Yeah. I'll just continue to let this dry. And we'll get back to it later. It's been a few days and had a few problems with the tongue. Seems to be that this adhesive is permanent, but not quite for all the parts of my Dilophosaurus. But it seems to be working right now. So I'll just get this finished. Just connect the skull and lower jaw and tongue to have a neck part. That should work just fine that way. That's approximately how it should fit. And that's how the lower jaw ought to be. And the tongue is not cooperating. The tongue is not going to cooperate. Or maybe it will. Yeah, that looks about right. That's pretty much how it should work out. Difficult to see with my fingers in the way. Well, that's pretty much it. I'll use that for a few seconds anyway. Next tutorial, I'll be working on my Dilophosaur's torso. And in the meantime, I'll try to get this working again. So I'll see you later. See you then.